Hey guys, in this month's Historical Fiction 101, I'm going to be talking about the TV series Knightfall. So, before I do head into this video, just a quick warning, quick disclaimer. I am not going to be discussing anything involving spoilers. The point of this video is to discuss it, perhaps maybe get you interested in it, to watch it if you've not watched it already. But yeah, I am very much open to talking about the season in general, talking about spoilers, but yeah, in the comments below. Yeah, because I don't really know anybody who's sat and watched this, except for like me and my dad. Me and my dad sit and watch this. So I would love to sit and just talk about this show with some other fans of the show. So just some quick information here. The series, it originally aired on the History Channel beginning in December of 2017 and then finished up in February of 2018 with 10 episodes. And as for a very general plot summary here, the series, it opens in Acre in 1291. It's the Siege of Acre. We are following the Templar Knights, more specifically this one guy named Landry, and the big event that happens in Acre, which you essentially get in like the first 10-15 minutes of the show. The siege, it's a big failure for the Templars, and what ends up happening, they lose the Holy Grail. Yeah guys, they found the Holy Grail, then they lose it. So then we skip forward 15 years. We are still following the Templar Knight Landry, but he is stationed in Paris, France. He's a good friend of King Philip IV. And yeah, through a series of events, Landry finds that he is once again on the search for the Holy Grail. And everybody in this cast wants the Holy Grail for their own very specific reason. And Landry kind of has to be the guy who makes the decision, you know, who gets the Holy Grail, what should be done with it. So, overall, my overall opinions and feelings about Knightfall in general, I like it. I'm not in love with it yet. Like I said, this is put out by the History Channel, which also puts out the series Vikings, and Vikings is definitely one of my top favorite shows. So yeah, if you like Vikings, if you like Game of Thrones, you will definitely, I think, like Knightfall. At least give it a chance, I think. The show can perhaps be a bit hit or miss, but I think the positive of this show is that it has a lot of future potential, because I think they needed to kind of get through this first season to really set things up, and for season 2 I think things are really going to get going at a rapid pace. And just to inform you guys, even though I do love history, I'm not totally like into French history, especially like French history here taking place in like the early 1300s. I have no knowledge of early medieval France. I'm much more knowledgeable about medieval England, to be quite honest. So yeah, I kind of went into this series not knowing what to expect, not knowing entirely what the history is, but yeah, through various different reviews that I have read, my understanding is that this show is not really historically accurate. Which, I mean, duh. You have to expect that when you're watching a historical show, a historical movie, reading a historical fiction book. Authors and creators, they need to take creative liberties, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with creative liberties as long as it's serving a purpose and a function in the story. I'm not a stickler for historical accuracy, you know. I'm not gonna sit and I'm not gonna sit and boo a show just because it's horribly inaccurate. But yeah, my understanding is that it's not entirely accurate, so yeah, if you're expecting historical accuracy, you're definitely not gonna get it with this show. Yeah, I think It changes up the timeline of a few things. I think some characters are alive that shouldn't be alive, and then I think later on some characters are dead that maybe shouldn't be dead. I don't really know. But yeah, a lot of things are shifted around for creative narrative purposes for this story. So yeah, I think essentially what you need to expect with this show, just kind of go into the show with an open mind. Don't have a firm timeline in your head, because I think the show definitely does kind of mess around with historic timeline. But overall, I do think this show, it does a remarkable job with setting the mood and the scene of medieval France. I love the costuming. The costuming is absolutely spectacular. The hair, don't get me started on Queen Joan's hair, you guys. I love Queen Joan's hairstyles. Yeah, costuming, hair, makeup, the locations. Like, this is a show with a pretty good budget, and I think that's thanks to the success of Vikings, because Vikings is very popular. I think History Channel was like, you know what, we're going to take some risks here. We're going to make a show about Templar Knights. We're going to kind of use what we've learned from Vikings to help out with this show, you know. So yeah, Knightfall is definitely pretty impressive, I think, as far as visual goes. The locations are filming in places. Yeah, they're not sitting there using like an overabundance of CGI or anything. It's all very, very well done and beautiful to look at. But just to discuss the writing, the scripts, the show, like I said, it can be a bit hit or miss. I really enjoyed the first episode. The first episode had me intrigued enough to keep going. But yeah, the show does suffer a bit from a dawdling plot, especially anything dealing with the Templar Knights and Landry's quest to go after the Holy Grail, because for half of the season, that whole plot line, it's kind of slow and it's not really moving much of anywhere. But then you have the Royal French Court, which are my favorite parts of this show, to be quite honest. I think everything at the French Royal Court is at a rapid pace. I think it's all very well written. I really like all of the characters. I really got into that part of the story, you guys. So yeah, the Templar stuff, you gotta kind of get through that for the first half of the season, because it does pick up halfway through, I think, and it starts to make sense and things start to come together narratively. There's all sorts of shocking twists and turns that start happening. Now, I do want to spend a bit of time talking about the characters in a little bit more detail. My favorite characters, my least favorite characters. You know what? I don't think I really have a least favorite character. For the most part, I really liked everybody. But yeah, let's start off with Tom Cullen, who plays Landry, our leading Templar Knight. Whew, mercy, guys. Tom Cullen, I've already loved this guy. He was in Downton Abbey. He was one of Lady Mary's love interests. And you guys, this show not only has one of Lady Mary's love interests from Downton Abbey, but it has two of her love interests, which I got the biggest kick out of. Plus, there's a third character from Downton Abbey in this show as well, which we'll talk about. But yeah, there's 3 people, you guys. 3 people from Downton Abbey, which I was like, yes, I love this. But yeah, back to Tom Cullen, you guys. He's good looking. No denying that. He is good looking. But Landry, you guys, the character of Landry, I started to open up to him about halfway through the season. Like I said, the whole Templar story picks up about halfway through. I started to kind of latch onto him and attach to him about halfway through. But yeah, for kind of the first half of the season, he's a bit of a dull character. In some ways, which is kind of unfortunate, but like I said, I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the nature of the writing and the story. But yeah, I think Tom Cullen, he does a good job with what he's presented. He's really stoic, he's really courageous and noble, but he does have an inner conflict within himself, you know, because there's his life as a Templar, but then at the same time, he kind of wants to have another life. He likes women. I'm not going to spoil this for you, but he does have a romance with somebody that he's not supposed to be having a romance with, because the Templar Knights, they're supposed to be celibate pretty much. But yeah, he's not celibate. And yeah, he has that inner conflict with himself, you know, his duties to the Templars, but then yeah, he kind of wants a life, you know, he wants children and family, but he can't have that. So yeah, there is that struggle there. So he's a man with demons, that's for sure. But yeah, Tom Cullen, he does a fantastic job with what he's given. Like I said, he's horribly good looking. Next is Jim Carter, who plays Pope Boniface the Eighth, and this is another person from Downton Abbey. I was so glad to see him on this show as well. And Jim Carter, he is such a terrific actor, you guys. He's one of those guys that he'll kind of just pop up in random British things, but everything he's in, he's always amazing. He always stands out. He puts his all into it. And I really liked him as the Pope. Now, the character of the Pope, I honestly didn't really like the character that much. It's like he's kind of up and down. It's like you sort of like him, but then in the back of your mind, it's kind of like, is there something else going on with this guy? And there is. There's something kind of lurking underneath the surface that the Pope isn't quite sharing with Landry. The Pope has his own agendas when it comes to the Holy Grail. So yeah, it's kind of the conflict there. What should Landry do if he finds the Holy Grail? You know, should he give it to the Pope? Should he not give it to the Pope? There's all these different factions telling him what to do. So yeah, I really enjoyed kind of the presence of Jim Carter as the Pope. His presence, that there's something likable, but then something you're not quite sure about. Next is, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I think it's pronounced Patrick Delaney, maybe, and he plays the character of Gawain. This actor, he was on The Tudors. I loved him on The Tudors. You know, that's the thing about this cast. Just about everybody in this cast has been on another show that I love. But yeah, he plays the character of Gawain. What we see happen in Acker is that he gets wounded in the leg. So he's a tortured, tormented guy later in Paris because he has this injured leg. He feels like he's not capable of doing much, and yeah, he has his own agendas when it comes to the Holy Grail, because he thinks if he drinks from the Holy Grail, it will cure and heal his leg. So yeah, I love the character of Gawain. Just such a fascinating character. He kind of flip-flops all over the place as well in terms of his loyalties. And you know, it's all based on his own personal pain. And yeah, he gets upset with Landry on numerous occasions because he feels like Landry is hindering him. And then another Templar Knight that we have is Simon Merrills, who plays Tancred. I love this character, you guys. I did not expect to love this character as much as I did, because I thought he was just going to be, you know, a supporting Templar Knight character, but he's kind of much more than that. You know, he is a supporting character, but he has his own story as well, his own personal demons. Everybody in the Templar Knights has their own personal demons, you guys. Everybody's hiding something. But yeah, I love the Tancred character. I love his relationship with Landry from start to finish in this season. And yeah, guys, we gotta talk about Julian Ovenden's character, William de Nogaret. My freaking god. This is my favorite character in the whole damn season, you guys. Not lying. And plus, Julian Ovenden, he was also a character that was falling for Lady Mary in Downton Abbey. So yeah, this is the second guy who was on Downton Abbey as well. Or the third guy, because I've already talked about Tom Cullen and Jim Carter. But yeah, Julian Ovenden was also in Downton Abbey. I loved him in that as well. But yeah, his character, de Nogaret, you guys, he is the plotter. He is the schemer. Y'all know I'm a sucker for that type of character. And I'm not even joking, you guys. If you watch Game of Thrones, and if Littlefinger is your favorite character on Game of Thrones, de Nogaret is most definitely going to be your favorite character on this show. Like I said, he's my favorite character on this show. He is just up to everything. He has his hand in everything. He's manipulating everything. And yet, once again, he has his own agendas when it comes to the Holy Grail. He has his own agendas with the French court, with the English courts, just every court you can imagine. And I am in love with his character. He is just clever and brilliant and genius. And like I said, I love a schemer and a plotter. I could talk about him forever. But yeah, I love him so much. Moving on to Olivia Ross, who plays Queen Joan. I love Queen Joan. You guys, there's a lot of reviews that I've seen, and people don't like Queen Joan, and I don't really know why, but I personally really like Queen Joan, and I think Olivia Ross did an amazing job with this character, because Queen Joan, she's a badass. You know, she kind of proves that you don't have to dress a woman up in pants and give her a sword. You know, she is a badass without that stuff, and she's a political climber and mover as well. And yeah, she's trying to do what is best for France, do what's best for her own country of Navarre. And yeah, I love her plotline. And then moving on to Ed Stoppard, who plays King Philip IV. I really liked the king as well. But once he, you know, this is how all of the characters are on this show. It's kind of up and down with the characters, because sometimes you like them, sometimes you hate them, which I think is kind of a good thing, you know, narratively. But yeah, King Philip, it's so hard to talk about him, because you do start off the season liking him, but by the end of the season I was kind of like, I hate this dude. But yeah, Ed Stoppard does such a magnificent job playing the king though, and yeah, I like his relationship with Landry. That is put to the test in crazy ways throughout the season. And then last, we have Sabrina Bartlett, who plays Princess Isabella. And, you know, like I was saying about Denogre being kind of like the little finger of the show, Princess Isabella is almost like the Sansa of the show. Let's put it this way. Isabella and Denogre, there's something kind of weird going on there that probably shouldn't be going on, but it's there. And y'all know that I have a thing for weird pairings, weird ships. I'm definitely a Isabella and Denogre shipper. I have no shame. But yeah, I love Sabrina Bartlett. She's one of those actresses that I've seen on other numerous British shows as well, and she's always had like a supporting minor role, and yeah, I like that she has a large role here on this show as Princess Isabella. And oh yeah, her acting is really great. I love where the character goes by the end of the season. So yeah, that's it for Knightfall. Hopefully this video wasn't too rambly. I just kind of wanted to gush about it for a little bit, kind of get you guys a little interested and curious in it if you've not watched it already. And like I said, please talk about spoilers with me, because there's some things that happened in the final episode that I was like, what the hell just happened? I cannot believe that just happened. So that's it for this video, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.